Welcome to the Nate and Dorin podcast. We are professional videographers based in Vancouver, Canada, and we are here to talk about relevant topics within the video and media industry. I'm Nate and I run Nate Dixon Media.
And I'm Dorin, the videographer, solo entrepreneur offering video production services. And today we're going to have a chat with our special guest, Jax Shu, photographer and videographer at Lifestyle Flavors. Jax, welcome to the podcast and thank you very much for being on.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited. This is my first podcast ever. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen.
Well,
Oh,
we'll hopefully have a memorable experience together, and we're just going to chit chat about, video and photo life. So, why don't you start us off by telling us how do you know Nate? Because Nate invited you to the podcast. So, what's your business dealings with Nate?
All right. So I think like a month or two ago that we met at a dance competition, and we were both filming for the dance competition. I actually teaches at the one of the owners from that dance competition, and she owns a dance studio in Surrey called Just for Kicks, and I've been teaching there for quite some time now. I think like probably 8 years, like a long time. So yeah, and then she asked me to do some coverage and highlight just some coverage for the studio, and so I got one of my other buddies, and we came out and just basically shot the event.
yeah. And I remember I was filming the routines more like just from a standard competition, like for adjudication style. And yeah, you were like, had your gimbal and time lapses, and we're kind of, yeah, capturing a lot more cinematic fun shots.
Yeah, that's what yeah we were trying to do, and yeah, we just set up a few cameras and just really wanted to help the studio and really promote the competition, and that's basically my background. So I've been dancing for about wow 20 years. So yeah, like I've been in front of the camera for quite some time now, so I have a little bit of experience in how dancers want to be shot. So like yeah, I think that's
Mm,
helped me towards my advantage when it comes to video and picture.
cool. So you've been dancing for what, 20 years? That's pretty long. How long have you been doing photo and video type stuff?
Well, funny, when I started dancing, I would always pick up a digital camera or any type of camera. I would just put it there because you want to film yourself so you can learn what you're doing wrong. Did it look good? Did it look whack? Like, is it presentable? So like I actually been filming for like a good, you know, 15, 20 years, but it wasn't like I didn't have a professional camera. I didn't actually like just fell into the rabbit hole and just studying about this art form. Um, yeah, and then a few years ago, I think probably like 2017, a buddy of mine got into real estate photography, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I always wanted to, like actually take pictures of real estate or architecture. you know so I just shadowed them for a few months, and then they were getting busy, and then they needed an extra photographer, so they just gave me a camera, and I just started shooting photography from there, and that's where I got into more video style as well.
Okay, so it's kind of tagging along real estate, and that's kind of where you got your start.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And do you still enjoy doing that?
I do actually. Yeah, I do not as so much real estate, but I do more interior design stuff now. So I work with a few interior designers, and just the passion these interior designer I work with, they're very particular and unique. And then they'll tell me the story why they design certain things certain way, and it allows me to help them capture basically their art form, right, through my eyes and my yeah, my vision.
So, Jax, how did you come up with the name Lifestyle Flavors?
So a buddy of mine We came up with it together basically from dancing. So we use the word flavor a lot, which is like in hip hop and in
Hmm.
breaking. The word flavor just means style or swagger. So whenever you do something like really dope or really stylish, and we just say, ooh, flavor. So,
Hmm.
and he came up with the word lifestyle because at the time we were trying to think of to build a company where we were both doing architecture and real estate stuff, and we did a little bit of lifestyle shoot, and we thought, because living and everything, like anything in our world is basically based on lifestyle, right? So like videography, photography, breaking, anything is
Hmm.
lifestyle. So he came up with the word lifestyle, and then we used flavors a lot. So basically just combined the two words together, and that's how it was birthed.
Nice. So how long have you been doing photo and video, and how long has lifestyle flavors been around?
Ooh. So I think I've been doing photography for about a good 4 years now. And video, I'm actually still fairly new, like 2 years in.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, four
Well, hey
years and two
man,
years.
looking at the quality on your the projects that you've done, like I'm impressed. So keep working at it, you know?
Thank you, thank you. I'm still a student of this art form. I think I will always be a student of this art form. It humbles you and like so much to learn, and it's such a beautiful thing that you can express yourself through,
Hmm.
storytelling and capturing and just keeping things on record.
Oh man, you sound passionate about it now.
Yeah,
It's almost like you love doing this.
yeah, I try.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally in agreement with you. So, tell me a little bit about what's your gear setup? Do you use a different camera for photo and video? Do you use the same camera? Which camera is it?
So right now I'm using the A7 III from Sony. I'm rocking the 1635 Zeiss F4, and I also have a 7180 2.8 from Tamron, and an 85
Hmm.
millimeter. I'm actually about to go pick up like a mid zoom, the 2875 from Tamron as well. So I
Mm.
get all my everything covered, and then I'll probably go into my primes. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm shooting on. But so far I do all photography and video on this camera. I am saving. I want to get a A7S III. That's it's a little pricey, but like I'm gonna say it's my dream camera, but to a lot of people they already have it. So
Mm. Can I ask
yeah.
you, what is the main upgrade reason that you're getting it for?
A7S III.
Yeah, I'm aware of
Well,
the differences, but I'm wondering which specific difference is
it's just
enticing you
strictly
for it.
strictly for video because I love slow-mo, and because of breaking, it's the movements are so fast. I love capturing and filming like fast movements. So
Hmm.
breaking is just so fast. People move in such an incredible speed. So if I can have that 120 or even at 240 at 1080, that I can slow
Hmm.
down. I can just play around with how the movement works,
Hmm.
and I think that's yeah something that really want to get into.
Okay, because I was just gonna say that if you were looking for 4K 60, the A7 IV is gonna come out this year, and it's
Yes.
probably gonna have the 4K 60, which I'm kind of like, I'd rather get that than in the A7S. But the A7S, you're right, is just a huge step up. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
really hard. But that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome that you have like all these things kind of planned out, and you have a very good grasp of what you want and where you're at. So I can respect that and I admire that. I wish I was this clear-headed when I started my business like 4 years ago.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sure you are, man. Like, we. we live and learn, like I've bought like, like 4 years in, I've bought stuff that I barely use. It's just like, oh my goodness. Now I'm looking at me and my buddies were always like, we should do a video on things that we buy we never use.
Oh yeah,
We
we
can
should
have
do
like a
that,
whole
Nate.
season, just
Oh,
episodes and
There,
episodes and episodes.
there's our
yeah.
next topic, Nate. I
There
have
you
a
go.
few stories to use there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I
Awesome,
need that.
Jax.
Yeah.
Do I really need it? It's on sale, so I guess I need it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely all been there, I think. Guilty. Uh, but then there's the some gear where you just kind of buy it on a whim and then it ends up coming in clutch for you like all the time. You're like, oh man, this thing's like workhorse
Money.
piece of equipment. Yeah.
Yes,
Best
yes.
investment ever.
Yeah, totally. Well, let me ask you guys, what is the latest upgrades that you guys were
Of thinking of getting, or that we last
thinking
thing
of
we
getting,
bought? Oh,
thinking of getting?
I mean, for me, the upgrade is to have a private office. I'm
Yeah, that's
hoping to sell my apartment and buy a townhouse with a private office that's hopefully on a different level too, and to store my gear in a garage where I have two kids, a toddler and an 8-month-old. So I need to protect my gear from their greasy fingers and their bottle water dropping thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I hear you, man. It's funny because I was actually thinking the same thing. I was talking to my wife, um, and we're thinking to have kids soon, and we live in a one-bedroom apartment right now. And she's always saying like you need to store this downstairs or in the storage room and stuff like that, and I'm like, no, 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 there's no way I'm going to store thousands of dollars in storage room because I just got an email from Strata that our storage locker just got broken into. I was
Hmm.
like,
I've
no,
heard
no,
plenty of those
baby,
stories. Yeah.
that's that's not happening. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're
Nice.
actually thinking of a townhouse as well.
Yeah.
Right on.
What about you, Nate? What do you have
Oh,
lined up?
for me, I think the weakest part of my setup right now is the lenses. So like I've got just a 50 mil, the Sony f1.8 prime, the kit lens, and then I got a wide angle uh, Samyang lens for like some real estate stuff I shot. But I've like tried out a friend's Sony 85 mil prime, and it is so crisp and like so clean. And I was just like, oh man, this would be so nice to use in a lot of situations. So I could definitely see a couple prime lenses that are just have a better look to them,
Hmm.
just a better quality, and nice silent autofocus. Like the Sony 50 mil f1.8 isn't silent autofocus; it still has the bit of clicky sound, and it can pick up on like a shotgun mic. So
Mm.
I think some nicer lenses would be on my next upgrade list.
Nice,
So if either of you
nice.
guys are selling some of those, let me know.
The 85 is definitely sharp.
Yeah,
It's
I borrowed a
super
friend's for
sweet
a weekend, and I was like
and
blown
it's
away.
quick. It's quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to sell any of my lenses. I need to expand too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, gear, but Jax, you really seem focused on the artistic side of video. Would you say that's fair? That you're not so focused on the gear, you're more focused on the art side of it?
It's funny. I try to. Yeah, I definitely try to focus more on the artistic side, but I'm also like a tech nerd too. I'm like watching
Mm,
so many YouTube like videos and just trying to learn and study. Like I'm constantly just reading reviews and reading on new things that's coming out, what's coming out, like what can I use it for? It's it's like a completely different ball game than dancing because I've been doing it for so long, which my foundation's been set pretty good, and now doing video and just completely different. So I'm just trying to just be like a sponge and just soak up as much as I can. But definitely, I think tech equipment, it's important, but definitely, I guess what like who controls the camera actually controls the narrative. So that's like a big part for sure.
Yeah, the way it's filmed and the way it's edited, 100%. Um,
Definitely.
but like I assume what makes this enjoyable for you is the fact that these two worlds have overlap because they were both kind of expressive, artistic, even though technicality wise they're like completely different. But like have you ever thought about like with all your video knowledge and your like you're aware of lighting and what impact that has and how the camera sees lighting, have you thought of like unique dances that could be shaped through the lens? Like for example, have you seen like music video clips where all the lights are off but they're wearing like neon lights silhouetting their body and that's like a music video? That like
Yeah,
blew
yeah.
my mind. I'm like, "Oh, that is a cool way to film a dance."
Yes, yes. No, definitely for sure. Like I think having the background as a dancer and being in front of the camera and now enjoying it so much being behind the camera definitely I feel like it's an advantage for me to kind of see and understand what I want to see and what I want to present. And I think that's why I definitely one of the main reasons why I kind of fell in love with it. But it was actually I gotta be honest, it was very intimidating to actually start video in the beginning because being doing video and photography was completely different. Video was like so much more technicality you need to understand like frames per second, your shutter speed, the 180 rule, like and then so much more and just it doesn't stop. So yeah, like I said, it's a beautiful art form, man. I'm just gonna be a student life of this forever.
Awesome. Well, as long as you're enjoying the ride, it's worth it.
Yes, yes.
Jax, I have a question. What are some of your other hobbies and interests besides video and dance?
What are my other well, I love sports. I grew up actually playing a lot of sports. I grew up around hockey players. So my whole neighborhood, like they just so happened they were all like AAA hockey players. It was very interesting. So, and I'm sure everyone knows like ice hockey is it's not cheap. And I really, really wanted to play ice hockey, but we just didn't have the funds when I was a kid. So I just played a lot of roller hockey, and then I got into basketball, and I played a little baseball too. And that was funny. I think I played AAA too. Like I think I was in grade 14, 13 or 14. And then when I got into high school, I couldn't see the ball anymore. The pitch is coming in down the plate. I was like, it was just this sound just going shoo. I was like, I can't see the ball. I don't think I can play this sport anymore. It was insane. But yeah, so I just played a lot of basketball. And yeah, that's one of my other passion, I guess. I've been following basketball for a long time. I still actually follow. I was actually watching the game before the podcast, so yeah.
Well, I'll admit I don't know what game is on right now. I'm not really a basketball fan. So, are you like a Raptors fan?
Uh yeah, Raptors are cool. But I support the Warriors. I like Curry because just so
Okay.
he's like the underdog, and plus like he's a Christian. I'm a Christian,
Yeah,
I
he's
got my
legit.
man. Yeah, and he's like small in the NBA. He's like the underdog, and the way he changed the game, I was just like, wow, like there's only like one and a few players like in a decade or two that actually does that to the game. So yeah, definitely, yeah, he's a big inspiration for sure.
Cool. That's awesome. What what is an important lesson that you learned kind of in your first year of doing video? Like what kind of like a hard lesson that you wish you knew back then, but you had to like learn it on the go or took you by surprise?
Hmm, a good lesson, man. It's
Like if someone would be to start new as a videographer, what's something that you're like, oh man, you got to be aware of this because this caught me by
yes,
surprise, or I had to like struggle to fix this ASAP.
yeah, to film to edit, because you're not filming to edit. You're just gonna be editing forever, forever, because you're just filming a bunch of stuff that you think you might use it, but you don't really have an A to B. You're not telling a story in this scene or this clip that you're filming, and that really helped me a lot when I started learning about pre-production and really understand the strategy and what's the importance of the each shot that you're trying to get. And that's really when you put it together, it makes it much easier than just going through hours and hours and hours of clips and you're just going nuts.
Yeah, that's solid advice.
Yeah, yeah. Like in the beginning, I was just filming. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna film that. But like when you go back, like, well, I can't put all this together. You only got to use a few things, and you were filming forever, and now you're looking at all the videos forever. So definitely, I would have told myself that to film to edit and learn about pre-production more.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. There's definitely been times where I've been filming something and like my boss, who doesn't know much about video, will just like point to something like, "Ooh, get a shot of that. Get a shot of that." I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna use these, but whatever."
Makes you happy, I'll do it.
Yeah,
That's nice. Get the shot of that. Oh man. But that goes hand in hand with the fact that you're an artistic and creative type. Some people I know, some videographers, they don't want to have to do any creative editing. They just want like linear cutting
Hmm.
or not to do editing at all. You know, so that's
Hmm.
actually something very um, that requires a certain type of like kind of vision.
Hmm.
So that's cool if you got that. And am I correct in assuming that you're hardest critic?
Yeah, I think sometimes I can be in a negative space because I'm just like, oh, that wasn't good. Oh, that was crap. Oh, like, but then I show
Mm-hmm.
it to my wife or to my buddy. They're like, no, this is actually pretty good. Like how long do you spend your time? I'm like, I spend like 72 hours on it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Welcome to the
yeah,
club. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm the same way. And yeah, even just last week, I had a wedding that I edited that I'm like looks terrible. I'm so aware of everything that I did wrong or I could have done better. And then I just showed it to my wife. She's like, looks fine. Not your best portfolio piece, but given the conditions that were out of your control, this looks fine. And then I gave it to the bride and groom. They're like, "Oh, awesome, thank you." I'm like, oh, all that stress for no reason. Well,
Yes, yes.
because you want to
Yeah,
always achieve the best, right?
totally. Or it's just like I realize, excuse me, like even little things, because like say if you're running gunning, like, and then you go back, excuse me, you go back to post production, and then you're looking at it like, oh, it's just a little bit more to the left, and to perfectly place whatever the object or your subject the way it is there. And yeah, and when you go in post production, that's it's like you wish just the little things that I think videographers would realize that yeah, things could be fixed if you had more time on set.
definitely. And Jack's another kind of business question would be, how has COVID affected your business? Because you started your business, what, 3, 4 years ago, you were saying, doing video?
Hmm.
So, how have you had to pivot or adapt in these uncertain times?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So when COVID hit, it was like completely like dead. Didn't have much business. Like a lot of gigs were being canceled. And then a few months we would get one or two gigs that come in, but it wasn't a lot. And then it would just go dead again. Um, but I think after 6 months to 8 months, I'm realizing I would be doing more shoots, more privately. I guess people realize, you still need to do business. So like we were getting quite a bit of calls, so it kind of helped a little bit, but compared to before, definitely not as rich as before, for sure.
You said you did real estate.
Hmm.
Did that grow because like less open houses and only private viewings, and some people don't want to like step into like a dozen places in the weekend? Did that bump up at all?
Uh, After I think like when COVID hit, yeah, 3 months, I think 6 months, and then we started getting a lot of calls, and we actually invested into a Rico 360, Rico
Oh,
Theta
nice.
Theta Z1, yeah, yeah, and actually, I I cracked the screen. It was such a stupid thing to do, but anyways, yeah,
Oh.
we actually got that, and we actually did a virtual tour for a restaurant in Vancouver. Shout out to Pizza Carano. Yeah.
Mm,
So yeah, we
nice.
got quite a bit of gigs just from that. So yeah, that was pretty
That's
sweet.
cool. So, would you have like what's one of your most favorite or memorable project or your most successful project? Which project kind of stands out for you, either from a quality perspective or from a like satisfaction level that you got to produce?
Hmm. So I think it was this was COVID related too. So the dance competition, they needed to put out a safety instructional video. And
Mm-hmm.
then they called us probably like a few days before we needed to be done like today. I'm like, to like, you mean tomorrow? She's like, yeah, we need to be done tomorrow. And I was like, tomorrow? Like, are you serious? Like tomorrow? You're calling me like right now and you want me to do it tomorrow. And then she was showing me this video, and I was like, okay, so we need a very big backdrop because you need the video she showed was like a pretty much like an infinity room and a bunch of people walking and narrating and stuff like that. So, and yeah, so their
And you don't have a
budget,
studio, do you?
no.
So
So
next day, book an infinity room.
exactly. So it's like, so we had to, post something out of our ass a little bit, but we actually, so I within their budget, they really didn't have much budget, so they wanted to us to do the pre-production, everything. And I was telling her, so okay, you need to narrate because she wanted me to narrate it as well. I'm like, well, I can't write a script for you because like there's just the budget doesn't fit, right?
Hmm.
So
Good call.
yeah,
I love your attitude, dude.
because I would pull my hair out if I had to do all that within like, a few days. So I convinced them to push it a little bit. I think a week later. So I told them we need the script to be done first, right? That would make it easy because they wanted to film in 4 hours, everything filmed. I'm like, yeah, we can definitely do that, but we need the script. You need someone to narrate it. You need to write it because if we don't have that, we can't freestyle this. So they actually got that done. It was actually very well written. The audio was okay, but because they did it, but I still made it work. And then we we buddy of mine, he actually had a huge backdrop, and we actually brought it in. And the on the day of, we set it up, but the room wasn't long enough. So
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I had to back up all the way and use my 7180 and actually get in like a nice tight shot where everything compresses and still fit all the backdrop. So I think that was definitely a challenge because we're like, oh, can we do this? Well, just take it, just roll with it and see how we did. And like for first like instructional like COVID video, and I think our pre-production was like 8 hours. Yeah, we just got ahead. We just did it. We just like do this, do this. We need this shot, this shot. We'll do. We actually got two different angles of the shot for each of the 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 scene that
Scenes.
we wanted.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely, I would think that coming back, like thinking about it, like to be able to pull that off within like just a few days, I was like, yes. So that
So
was
how did
pretty
it
cool.
feel when you were like done with all of that? Was the client happy?
Oh yeah, yeah, they were definitely happy for sure because they wanted they wanted all white, and then we made it all white with the background and everything. I'm like, all right, and yeah, now I think about it, it's like should have charged them more.
Yeah.
Sounds like you came in clutch for them there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely had some help from the man up there. So.
Yeah. Did you feel like after you like completed this like seemingly like not maybe impossible, but like, oh, like this is gonna like end up bad, you're probably thinking like, oh, this is being rushed, this is not proper budget, this is not this, we don't have a room, then you get to the room, it's not long enough. But did you feel at the end of all of that that you're like, oh yeah, I'm good if I can
So
make
af
this work?
Yeah, definitely. So we did the pre-production, and once we got on set, so the funny thing was they had, they had a lot of ideas too, but they didn't bring it up to us when we were doing the pre-production because I asked them any ideas you want, right? So they were actually, it's like it's not their fault. It's like, no one's fault really. They were kind of like trying to direct how we were going to film it. But I'm like, no, 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 we only have 4 hours. Like, this is the list that we came up with. We need to film this. We can't stop and then do what you want to do, and then because that's going to cut more time because they actually just started adding more stuff. I'm like, okay, hold on. Let's
Uh-oh.
let us
Hmm.
finish this, and then after, then we can do that. So that was
Hold
actually
up. How far into your business? How many years were you in when you had this project?
this was actually during COVID.
So like after a couple years of business?
Yes, yes, like two
Because
years.
this, like everything you're telling me right now is incredibly like knowledgeable and mature. Like
Really?
yeah,
No, I
like
appreciate
approaching
that.
it that way and not like, because it's so easy when when you're like still like kind of starting off and like you said, this is the first time you're making this type of video. It's easy to like, you know, fearing that you might upset or lose this client if you don't do what they say, to step in and say like, hey, this is what we plan with. It's gonna go better if we stick with this. That's actually a hard thing to do. I've struggled in the past doing that, and I've like, clients always right, customers always right. Like, yeah, that works for retail, not for video
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily, unless it's like a completely private project. But this was like a kind of like a business, like a small business type of project, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, man, like I love your attitude, and I would love like to subcontract you or work with you because like you have like the 10 years of experience right here, man, and then you
Thank
have the
you, thank you.
passion, and it's like, yeah, I'm so glad Nate brought you on the show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah,
And
it's
I
just
actually saw that video right before like jumping on the podcast. I was like, okay, this is their website. This is a couple of videos. Here's the Instagram. What's this video? And I'm like, hmm, okay, I see what you did there. Okay, that's cool. That must have been fun to
nice.
film. Now I know all the details. Like, oh, it could have been such a fun project, but it was all chaos.
Yeah, yeah. Well, luckily I have my buddy with me. He like we like kind of calm each other down, right? So like which worked out really well. Or if it, I think if it just me, So like I can't take all the credit. I probably would have kind of blown up too. Like, hey, like we got the list. Let's focus on the list. But
Mm.
he stepped in like, hey ladies, just give you a heads up because we are on a time schedule and stuff like that. Please quiet on set and stuff like that because they were just blurring stuff out. They were turning on the lights. I'm like, no, the white balance. Yeah.
Sounds
So
like they
that
were
was
like
funny.
sabotaging you without knowing it.
Yeah, well,
And
it's not their fault because most people don't really know much about
mhm.
video, right? They're just like, oh, why
Yeah.
don't you do this? Why don't you do this? You know what? Can you crop the whole can you crop that chair out? But it's like video. I'm like, I can't, but that would
Uh,
take me forever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jax, what that sounds like it was that project had its share of challenges.
hmm
But for your business right now, what would you say your biggest challenge is, and what's kind of your plan to overcome that?
Well, I definitely want an office to expand where like I can actually film the things I have more passion about and actually focus into that direction. Like doing real estate was really fun. Like it was a great start and fundamental for me, which allowed me to understand like the verticals and your horizontals, how your lines and how to go from one room to the other and how to story tell, how to present, your project. And just now knowing what I'm really passionate about. I love dancing. I love like music and stuff like that. I want to actually move more into that direction. I would love to do a few music video to start because I think I would be good at it. I think I can learn and really understand how to kind of use my vision and definitely listen to the song and really present my point of view, from hearing the song or, stuff like that. And yeah, and I think an office would definitely help me to actually expand my business that way. And I can, yeah, to be able to, not, if I want an infinity room, I can just paint the whole office white, stuff like that, where I can build my own scene, build my own just any room. I want to build a bedroom. I can build a bedroom in there. I can and build a jail cell. I can build, anything. So I think that would really be the next step. So yeah.
Cool. That sounds like that'd be really fun.
hmm
And actually, just earlier this week, I got to kind of get a taste of shooting music videos for the first time. Um, at Village Jax, we were filming some music videos for the Village Kids online.
Sick.
So we had like the infinity room there, and we got like a low lying fog machine, and we had projection going and lights, and they're like changing colors and stuff, and the dancers and singers had like all their choreographed moves and stuff.
Sick.
So yeah, we were using like a motorized slider and an easy rig and doing some passes, and it was so fun. I was loving it.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
insane. So,
yeah,
wasn't it a bit challenging to use? You had an infinity room. Was that like what color was that? Like a green room or a white?
it's all white. Yeah,
So,
and
how did you separate the fog from the white, or did you use like lighting for that?
I think we just did different colors for the backdrop, and then different lights kind of illuminating the fog.
That's
So I just put
awesome,
like some lights on the ground to like illuminate the fog as more white, and then the
dude.
background was more greeny blue.
When that gets posted, link it. I want to see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I will. So I share that Jax. I definitely want to get more into shooting music videos, and I think I'll get an opportunity at Village where I'm working full time now.
That's awesome. Yo, congrats. That's
Thank
awesome,
you.
man. Yeah, I
Congrats. Yeah.
remember we met. You're telling me about you work for Village, but it was like part-time, right?
Yeah, I started off as just a contractor there, and I had applied for that full time position like months ago, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we kind of dropped the ball on that. Are you still interested?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah." So then they kind of just started the interview process, and yeah, now I'm full time there. So
That's
yeah,
awesome,
it's pretty
man.
sweet.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
Yeah, it's been a crazy month starting the job there and having the third kid and moving to a condo and so it's been a crazy season of life.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, man.
Thank you, Mr. Shu.
Oh,
uh,
this episode's so wholesome, guys. I love
aw,
it.
You guys are
yeah,
awesome, man.
but yeah, Jax, maybe we should try and get you on set a few times to film some stuff. I'm sure we
That
could use your skills.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be super cool. I'd love to just to come out and check it out and see how you guys set up, how you guys do your thing, and yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm sure we'll talk again after this podcast. I won't ghost you or anything. So, all right, it was nice meeting you. Bye.
See you later.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to be over the hill that I'm currently going up. I've been actually, because I'm pretty sure, like, because I saw the dance studio you kind of have on your that you did the video for and you have on Instagram, and I filmed kind of like what Nate was filming too, like for the adjudication stuff. I think I might have seen you one day. Was there an event in Richmond at a hotel that you came to film?
Are you talking about the same one?
Yeah,
Yeah, did you
Yes.
because
come in on days that I wasn't there? Because I was only there for like 2 days.
Yeah, yeah. I was the MC for the competition, the jam as well, on another day, on a Wednesday or something.
oh no, not for that one. The one.
Yes, the one. The one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I filmed,
Because
oh, I think I filmed.
there was a guy with an A7 III there, and he was like getting in up in front of my camera, and I'm kind of like, hey, no, you can't be in front of my camera. You have to go off to the side. And he was kind of like, aw. So I'm like, oh, is that you?
Is that me? I guess it could be me. Like sometimes I'm so oblivious and I apologize for that.
No, it's all right. Yeah, there you go. Got along
Yeah,
with Nate,
next
and
next time.
I'm the guy that's like, get out of my shot.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Next time you see me, just like, yo, Jax, move out of the way.
Remember,
Well,
Jax,
man,
this is my camera.
I've been doing like dance comps for the last 8 weeks in a row, like for some other studios, and I'm like exhausted, man. Can't wait
Yeah,
to be done with it. I have like another session to do, like another production to do in Vernon,
yeah.
and then I'm done on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the work hours are like 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
It's
for eight
crazy.
weeks in a row. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
trying to sell my apartment and buy a townhouse. I don't have a third kid on the way, so I'm not as crazy as Nate.
Uh,
Crazy busy, but yeah, I can't wait to be at the end of all of this. Anyway,
Yeah.
enough about me. Let's get back to you. So we kind of touched on the what you would kind of advise, like a lesson that you learned early on and you would tell someone that they're just starting out. But is there something else that you were to recommend to a starting videographer, photographer, freelancer? Would you advise what would the main thing that you would explain to someone to invest in? It could be gear or it could be
Mm.
in something else, like you said, kind of like, hey, pre-planning is more important than gear, or this is more important, lighting is more important. Like what do you feel like you would recommend to a upcoming videographer? What should they invest their
Mm.
money or time in?
I think I think gear, that's most importantly, but you don't need the best. You don't need top of the notch right away to start. But I would say invest into yourself. whatever that you need to get you going. Find inspiration, find things that motivates you, especially find people that that you want to be around where are doing the same thing, because if you're not with the people that you're around, it kind of cuts off your momentum and like your energy. So you want to be around people that's doing the same thing and like want to be better and keep moving forward and always, asking a little bit more of themselves or a little bit more of, your friends, just like, hey, like encouraging words and sometimes a challenge or two, just like, hey, did you, think about this? And then what about this? I think that's very important because who you surround yourself with will ultimately kind of help and kind of lead you, give you an extra hand to get to where you want to be. So definitely invest into yourself. And yeah.
True words.
Jack spitting the wisdom.
Did I go too deep?
No, that's exactly what
No,
we
no, no,
wanted
no,
for
no.
that question. Yeah. And
Okay, okay.
I kind of have the same philosophy. Yeah. Like I think people should be a bit more exploring of what do they want to get out of video, because video is so broad. You can do so many different styles of both filming and editing. you
Mm-hmm.
know like are you a real estate, or are you a wedding or a dance or a conference, a corporate product video? Like all of these have completely different approaches in both pre-planning, filming, and editing, and some people might like to do all of them, some people might want to specialize, but you won't know that until you like explore that about yourself, right? So exactly what you were saying, kind of like invest in yourself, surround yourself with other people that are kind of doing the same thing, and see what appeals to you. So I
Mm-hmm.
100% agree.
Definitely,
Feel
definitely.
like you're my lost
Spirit
brother that
animal?
like I didn't, yeah, I don't know if spirit animal is the right one. That's no, I feel like we're like brothers, and we didn't like we just met each other now.
Yeah, we haven't crossed path yet till today.
Hmm. There
Mm.
you go.
Well, you guys are both 80s kids, right?
Oh,
Yes, I
is
was
he?
86.
Ooh, 89. But he loves to be
Nice.
like, oh, you're 80s.
Yeah, I like to tease Doran because I was like 92 and Doran's 89. So I'll be like, oh, Doran,
He makes it sound
you
like
old
there's 20
man.
years between us. Like I'm in
Yeah.
80 and he's in 99 or something. Like, oh, you're
Like
'80s, I'm
yeah,
'90s.
you wouldn't understand. It's a 90s kid thing.
But the good thing is if you're born in the 80s, you grew up in the 90s. So
Yeah.
90s was a really dope, a really like stylish era, I
Yeah, you're
think.
Yeah.
still in your diapers, Nate.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys are too funny.
Yeah. So maybe you're more of a 90s kid than I actually am because you actually grew up in that time. Yeah. Oh, but you were in Romania, so everything's like 7 years behind.
Oh no, 30 years behind.
30 years behind.
So I'm a '60s kid.
You're a 60s kid. Uh, Jax, were you born in Canada?
No, I was actually born in Taiwan. So I
Ah,
was, yeah, 86, and then I moved to Canada in 96.
ah,
Actually, yeah, we actually lived in Victoria first, and then in 96 there was like, well, okay, give you guys a little bit background about Taiwan. Taipei is like Taiwan is basically probably half or one third of Victoria Island, but they have about 30 million people, about the same population as Canada, give or
wow.
take a few
Yeah.
million less, I think.
Hmm.
But I grew up in like basically a concrete jungle where like I walk out in my home, it's high rises everywhere. So I didn't really get to see stars and like just a beautiful sky till I came to Canada.
Hmm.
So Yeah, so at the time, like Victoria, we didn't have nothing. So we moved there for 6 months, and my mom's like, okay, this is too boring. We need to move to Vancouver. So then we switched the scene and jumped on the ferry and hopped over.
Okay, you just mentioned something, and I gotta ask, are
What's
you
that?
into astrophotography?
No, I haven't got into it, but I think I would love it. It's just I'm trying to not to get too distracted by everything.
Yeah. Well, no, because you mentioned
Mm.
like you hadn't seen like the stars in the clear sky, and as a photographer, and definitely with the camera you have, you can get some really nice stuff in just like half-hour drive from Vancouver.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I've
I
been
sent
thinking
you,
that.
as we're doing the podcast, I sent you a Facebook friend request. If you look at my albums, I have an album called I Love Astrophotography. All of that
Oh
is
yeah.
done local here. Super
Oh,
easy.
sick. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we definitely have to chat more about that. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to camping excuse me, in July, so I was actually thinking of doing
Mm.
stuff like that.
Well, I can tell you this. If you go in July, ooh, I need month view on my calendar. Hold on.
Getting the moon cycles.
I do. I have it
Yeah.
on my calendar. Nate, I am
Yeah.
prepared, but I don't have time. July, you said?
Yes.
Okay,
Beginning of
July
July.
July 8 to 11 is your prime time for Milky Way.
Interesting.
That's when the moon's like low luminosity, so it's not gonna light pollute.
Okay. Cool,
So,
cool.
yeah, 8, 9, 10, 11 July astrophotography night if there's no clouds and
Yes,
no wind
yes. Okay.
There's a
and a
lot of
bunch
Definitely
of
got to
pictures.
do
other.
some research.
But yeah, Doran's got a good YouTube tutorial about how to photograph the Milky Way that's like micro viral.
Sick.
How many
Yeah,
views is that, Doran?
150,000 I think in 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's sick. I
pretty
And
good.
definitely got to peep
I look
that.
I look at it now and I cringe and I'm like I got to do an updated one and that's hopefully this year, but you know what?
Uh,
It was kind of cringe, but I had passion when I did it and now I don't. Now I'm too like, oh no, it has to be perfect. I have to pre-plan it. I have to do this and this. Like sometimes for personal projects, not client projects, but for personal projects, just like start filming and go with the flow.
mm,
Just be
Yeah.
expressive and stop being um so critical.
perfectionist.
Yeah,
Mm,
perfectionist
Yeah.
and critical of yourself and like just be yourself because
Yeah.
it'll come out better. People will either love or not love your personality. That's another issue. But anyway, yeah, it's I'll link you the Milky Way tutorial video.
Cool.
Whew.
well, you know what? I think I smell the perfect trade here. Doran should get some dance lessons from Jax, and Doran can give astrophotography lessons.
Done.
That seems like a fair
I
trade.
have recently
Done.
started up dance actually. I don't know if you saw my
Yeah.
story, Nate.
No, I didn't see your story yet. Are you?
You didn't see my story? It was my most famous story ever. I got so many interactions and people loved it. Because one of the guys that the MC that at this competition,
Yeah.
just like 2 days ago, was like, he's like, okay, I get all the dance moves and especially the acro is like really hard and you need to practice and be fit and all that. But there's just some dance moves that are just like lazy and like unelegant. And he was showing this one where you kind of like go like this with your arms and you just tippy toe in a circle. I don't know what that's called, but like the younger kids do that because they don't do like crazy like splits or cartwheels or walking on
hmm
hands or something.
Yeah.
And then he like did this, and someone was like, "Oh wait, I'm gonna get my camera and film." He's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it now." And I'm like, "Oh come on, I'll do it with you." And like we both did it, and we're like circling each other, and he was like chasing me at one point, like we looked like this goofy thing. And that was my story. What that person filmed, and then I put like this the caption of I'm taking up dancing.
That's the
For the
best.
memes.
Yeah, just
That's the
seeing this
best.
jolly fat guy just like dance inappropriately, like not inappropriately, but in like not properly. because I
Hmm.
got feedback from like a dance instructor, and she's like, "That's not proper posture. You're supposed to have your hands like this, not actually
Oh
touching." And I'm
man.
like, "Okay."
Oh man.
But then she's like, "But you have good form." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. So I don't need to lose weight. That's good. I have good shape." Does Facebook save stories, or do you have to archive them yourself before it expires? So I'll try and share it with you, Nate.
I don't know.
I'm sure they save it. They have it in their archive.
Yeah,
Mm.
Instagram does. I'm not sure about Facebook stories though.
Actually, wait. I have the video from because they linked it to me. I'll just forward it to you.
Okay, nice.
I'll do that after the podcast. But
Yeah.
I'm interested in dance, because you know what, I've seen some chubby dancers, and you know what, because of their expressiveness, you don't need necessarily to be the most flexible. Like obviously that opens up more opportunities, but you can still tell a story through dance despite your fluff.
It's
Mm-hmm.
the passion behind it, and
Yeah,
yeah,
if
the
you have the
world.
rhythm and matching the music, there you go. You're telling a story, and I'm like, oh, that was deeply touching.
No, super true. The world's best dancers, they're all not like super talented, but they're very unique and passionate
Mm,
Mm, that's awesome.
in breaking at least.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So, yeah.
That's what us break dancers call it, right? Breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the technical term now. They're pushing for it because breaking is getting into Olympics. So they don't want to use the term
Oh.
breakdance because that was a term given by the media in the 70s when it first came out. They didn't know what to call it. So, but
Ah,
yeah.
okay. That's like how everybody calls it frisbee golf, but people like me who actually play it just call it disc golf. And they're
Mm.
like, "Oh, that's frisbee golf," and you're like, "Well, they're not frisbees; they're discs and blah blah blah." But the media and everybody just calls it frisbee golf, and you're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Yeah. I'm not gonna argue. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
So
gonna win that one.
when that gets in the Olympics, then I'll make my stand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But speaking of passion jacks, you know, where do you see lifestyle flavors in 5 or 10 years from now?
Well, I'm thinking either next year, in a year or a year and a half, we will have our office, and then that's where we can produce our own music video, commercials, and short documentaries. I'm actually very intrigued by documentaries too, because I was never like really good at storytelling. But now learning about video and stuff like that and pre-production, like I really want to learn how to actually tell story more visually. Because I was never good at writing in school and everything, because I was the kid that could never sit at a desk for too long. I couldn't really
Mm.
read a book. Like I just noted everything. And
Hmm.
that's how I passed high school.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like definitely an office, so I can do more of my passion project to be able to push my business further and further into areas that I have interest in, and and basically go from there. So,
Oh, it sounds awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen The Last Dance on Netflix, that documentary about Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
Oh, that was a super dope document. I actually still like I'll edit photos. I'll just put that in the background and just because I followed Jordan like since I was a kid.
Mm,
Like and then I read his books and like I would constantly like just study him and like his mentality and just his ruthless. He just wants to win, and I kind of put that towards into my dancing, my film too. And so like I
mm,
would, yeah, just edit. I would just take a little bit longer and just kind of like just try to just trying to finish it, just trying to finish it and go a little bit more, you know?
yeah. So, that's kind of like the master class in documentary and sports for me. So if you can even get like part way towards that upper echelon, I think you'd be doing really well.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. No, yeah, hopefully I can get there because yeah, that documentary was sick. Like all the footage, all the behind the scenes footage from 96, 90, was it 96, 97, 98? Oh my
Yeah, but they did a
goodness.
lot of time jumps and like edit it together in such a way that it was a
It
really
was
interesting story.
and it was so clean too, so clear. If it takes you back, you know exactly where it was going. And like the way how he presented the story, I was like, wow, he jumped back and forth, but you knew exactly what he was talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a master.
Well, I gotta watch it now. I haven't watched it.
Oh
I
yeah,
haven't
You haven't
had
watched
no,
time.
it. You got to watch it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna watch the first
watch it.
episode. You're just be like, whoa.
Yeah, even
It
if you
was.
don't care about basketball, you will be
Wait,
hooked.
it's a documentary, but it's got episodes?
Yeah, it's like a docu series, you could call it.
Docu-series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, then yeah.
Hmm.
Add it to the binge watch list.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever I regain my free time and I
yeah,
catch up on
Soon.
life.
yeah,
Soon.
Hopefully.
yeah. Do you guys watch a lot of documentaries too?
Well,
Uh,
Doran's been stuck in his own version of
I've
quarantine at the
been in,
dance.
yeah, I have my own lockdown. It's a weird work lockdown. It's just dance and dance and dance, and the worst dance days are the ballet days because you fall asleep because it's just like lullabies for the whole day.
Yes, yes.
But the hip hop days, oh, yeah.
Yeah, hip
My
hop's
Yeah.
where it's
favorite,
at.
my favorite is acro though.
Mm,
They are super flexible and they're actually very strong. Their core strength, you're just like,
Yeah,
whoa.
I was quite disturbed when I saw a 6-year-old acro because I'm like, a small kid should not be able to turn into a pretzel. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just felt like I don't know. It was weird. I've never seen that, and I didn't expect to see that. But yeah, no, definitely the teen acro is like it is just like it's like you're doing work, but you're enjoying a show at the same time. So it's like, and the music's awesome, and it's always like
mm,
dramatic and epic, and I like that kind of stuff.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, not every performance is good like that. It depends on the teacher. So,
It does depend. Yeah, but even the ones that don't do anything too like you can tell they're like a beginner. Because you can start up acro when you're 6, or you can start it up when you're
hmm
14. You know, it's just depending on how serious the competition is.
yeah.
But even just like the fact that they can like they have that core strength and they're able to just like hold their weight in doing like a weird position. I'm like, yeah, I can never do that, not with my current weight. So I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Just
especially like
don't.
if they're on their chest and then the legs are hooked over like a scorpion, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and then I saw one dancer do like yeah, they had it overhead and then they like turned their head and looked at the camera and then they like bent their whole body
Oh,
towards the camera and then bent it back and I'm like, you're made of
ooh,
rubber.
my goodness. That would be scary if it's in the dark and someone turned over to you.
It was
Oh.
pretty dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But you know, she had the music wasn't creepy dramatic. It was
Okay.
just like exciting, like uplifting dramatic. So that,
Okay, thank
you
God.
know. Oh,
Thank God.
Oh, otherwise
but
Donner's gonna have some nightmares.
I have not had a dream about dance, and that's weird because it's been like 8 weeks of just that, constantly like bombarded with it. So
hmm
that's interesting. So Jax, you kind of like I think the like I want to ask something, but I think it's kind of a stupid question because the answers might be obvious, but who knows? Maybe you'll surprise me. If you weren't doing a video and photo right now, what do you think you'd be doing? And I'm assuming the answer would be like something dance related.
Yes, I think I'll be still going hard in dancing. I was before video and photography, I was actually competing. I was like a professional dancer and I was like traveling to the States and like around the world quite a bit just to compete. And I think, yeah, definitely still would be doing that. But I was very grateful to have found another outlet, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very very similar. It's very technical and like it's very visual and it's like storytelling too. It's just in another format basically.
So,
Hmm.
clarify something for me, because um, I don't quite understand something. So, from what I'm currently filming with these comps, it seems like the ages go up to 18, 19, and then like the dancers just stop dancing.
Hmm.
So, but you're saying you're still like you would still do dance now, even though you're obviously not 18 and 19 anymore. So, what is the piece of information that I'm missing? What is Are you doing a different level of dancing that's like a higher up type of competition compared to what me and Nate were filming?
So like with so hip hop dancing, so there's like breaking and like freestyle dancing, and then there comes to choreography dancing. So it's basically hip hop's like street dance. So with the studio dancing, it's it's competition, but it's like studio competition, and it's very
Mm-hmm.
very very respectful and like on a stage and like very very showy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost like everyone's a winner because it's like a encouraging environment where like everybody
Hmm.
comes in like three, if there is a category there will be only be three competitors, right? There's a gold, silver, and a bronze, stuff like that. But jumping to the hip hop competition where like it's like what you see in the movies, but even
Mm-hmm.
more realistic. It's literally like fighting without touching. So
Oh,
so
like dance off.
like a real battle. Like you would
Mm-hmm.
just go off and someone would just do a flip in right in front of your face and land into a split just to diss you. And because they have such amazing control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very,
Hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
little you would hit the person. Once you hit the person, you know you lost,
Yeah.
Hmm.
right? You
Okay.
can't touch. You know you can't
But
touch.
but what I don't understand is how is that a career? Because it sounds like a hobby to me. So this is the
Yes.
information that I don't understand. Because like everything below 19, your parents are paying for.
Yes, yes. So like these dance competitions, like these, you would go into showbiz, right? You would go into showbiz, you would do music videos and stuff like that and movies. So that's where they
Okay.
compete. And some of them would have to decide, do I want to take it further? Right? I might need to move to LA or, back and forth and stuff like that. Luckily in Vancouver, we're very, very grateful because the film industry here is so big, right? They're building studios and studios and studios. So a lot of people actually moving from Toronto to here, different places in Canada just to be able to pursue their career, right? But
Mm-hmm.
with breaking, you can actually go compete at these big competitions. When you battle, you win. You get placed in um, top 100 in your country or whatever, and go to these competitions. You can win competition be like 50 grand if you win, right?
Okay,
And
now you're talking. Well, that's like
so
a year's
it's
wage.
becoming more like a sport now where people get sponsored, right? There's
Hmm.
Red Bull All Stars, they get sponsored. These are all the champions. Red Bull BC One, which is like the world's biggest one-on-one competition. You win that, you get an agent, like you get contracts from Red Bull and stuff like that.
Shoot,
Yeah, you get sponsored from
man,
Monster
this is serious.
Energy. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like breaking's getting up there. That's why they're putting it into Olympics now. And you see these kids that's coming up, like kids in Russia, kids in China. You just like the things they do, you just like, holy smokes, like how did you do that? Like,
Hmm.
and they would do it like so like surprise element, like me dancing for 20 years, I would see something really dope. I get surprised like once or twice, right? This dancer comes out. But now year 2020, 2021, you see these kids come in just like hitting bangers and crazy stuff. You're just like, wow, okay, what just happened there? And then there it goes again, there it goes again, there it goes again. You're just like you like it's just hits of combos of crazy things happening. You're just like, what just happened? So the Olympics definitely going to be insane. You're going to see a lot of really a lot of young blood, young guns just coming in like, and they're fearless because they're under 18. They have so much stamina and their body recovers so fast, and they're just doing incredible stuff. It's insane, and I love it. It's I'm so proud of this art form. It's like, wow, it's actually making it in the world.
Hmm.
Wow.
Well,
I'm
thank you
definitely
for
going to look for
clarifying
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm definitely going to try and watch those next Olympics. That sounds
Yes,
sweet.
me
Um,
too.
yeah. So back to video jacks.
Oh yeah,
Um,
video.
you know, the main focus of the podcast. But Jax, you're just such a cool dancer. We had to learn more.
Hmm.
But in terms of back to video stuff, what are let's limit it to two items where you are like, these are my dream pieces of gear that I want right now.
Right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Like assuming you won like a whatever a $20,000 lottery or something.
I can have anything.
You kind of
Yeah.
mentioned the A7S III
Yeah.
or prime lenses. Do you have like
Yes.
But if you could
s-
dream as big as you
bigger?
wanted, someone else
Yeah.
just gives you their credit card, says, go buy something for your video business. Don't worry about the price.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, wifey. Um, to be honest, like I don't know too much about cinematic cameras. I know like what it is, but I've never used it. So I don't know like what I would do with it. With A7S III, it was like it's very similar to the camera that we all have, and which I've watched so many videos. My buddy has it, and like I kind of really understand how to use it. So I would say still maybe yeah, definitely A7S III or
Hmm.
excuse me, Black Magic. Was it 6K Pro?
Mm.
That one.
Hmm.
That would be
Would you, so let's say given an unlimited budget or like a generous budget, would you be content with one camera or would you want to like do a multi-angle, multi-camera production in your studio so you don't
for
have to
sure.
repeat the dance a dozen times, you only get it once and from like six
Yes.
angles.
Yes, and done. Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I would love a red camera too, but
See,
which just means
now
I have to change my entire
workflow.
line.
Work for
Yes,
everything. Yeah.
right.
Definitely need to
And
be for your
then
computer.
yeah, then
Yeah.
I gotta have a computer that can run raw video. So I
And a
probably have
RAID
to get it.
storage system for the dozens of
Yeah.
terabytes of.
Funny, I was just looking at getting a RAID, getting a what is it? Synology. I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
looking into that. Yeah. A 920 plus,
I'm not
something.
familiar with that model, but
Yeah,
Hmm.
something small to start. A 4 bay, yeah, that can hold up to what 64 terabyte, I think, and then it's ultimately
Yeah, sounds
32 because
small.
you're mirroring it.
oh, right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want the redundancy. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Make sure nothing goes missing.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like yeah, I've never played with a red camera, so that's why I'm like hesitant. Like, what can I do with a red? Well, you know what? You guys did say budget didn't matter, so because
Hmm.
in my mind, like if I change something, my workflow's got to be able to attain whatever I get, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
yeah.
well, here's something to take into consideration. Um, when you're filming, are you filming handheld, tripod, gimbal, glide cam? What are you filming currently with? What is your
I
setup?
do. It really depends on how I wanna tell this story. So if I want to present something where it's like I'm following something, I would definitely. It depends on the story too. I would use handheld, right, to give that handshake movement. But most of the
Mm-hmm.
time when I'm filming dancing, I'm on a gimbal on a Weibo S.
Mm-hmm. So, would you prefer having that small form factor? Because, like, a red and the accessories of it would mean you would have to have a vest with, like, an easy rig, or you would
Mm-hmm.
have a bit more limitation on how flexible you could be.
Yeah.
So, would that influence your decision? Would you still want to keep a small form factor?
Yeah, I think I would for now. In the future, I probably would switch it up because I was actually kind of looking at Tilta came out with a floating arm or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is it was very cool and it was affordable. I think it was a couple of thousand, so it wasn't like, tens of thousands of dollars, right? So I was looking at that, but definitely. But I would think like for now, the form factor is one of the main things,
Mm-hmm.
for me
Hmm.
right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just with my camera and all, and just keeping it lightweight. And sometimes we film for hours. So just like, oh, my wrist. Oh, I broke my wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome.
That's cool. Now, Jax, Mr. Shu, how can everybody find out and be involved with you and your company?
So you guys can follow me on Instagram. I have no faking jacks and also lifestyle flavors.
And that's spelled, how is flavor spelled? Is it like the British Canada way or the US way?
The US way. FLAVORS.
All right.
Yes. So, and then our website, www.lifestyleflavors.com.
Awesome. It has been
Awesome.
such a pleasure having you on here, Jax,
Thank
and
you.
picking your
Thank you.
brain about dance stuff and video stuff.
Yes, I had so
Yeah.
much fun just sharing. Hopefully, I explained it well. Like, it's my first podcast, so I don't know how I'm gonna look, and I hate watching myself. So,
Ah, your highest critic. There he goes
uh,
again.
Mm,
Well, hey man, I think you looked and sounded great, and we had a blast here. I definitely had a lot of fun hearing to the experiences you've had, and especially the dance side of things. So thank you very much for coming on, and I hope we'll have you again for another episode. Do a follow up.
definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys' time and inviting me on. And yeah, I had a great time. And hopefully, second podcast coming up.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap for today's podcast. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Please leave a comment or message us about what topics you would like us to discuss. We kind of ran out of topics, but Jax gave us a really good one about regretful purchases. So I look forward to filming that with you, Nate, next week.
most useless purchases. Yeah. And be sure to subscribe to not miss an episode of the Nate and Doran podcast. You can find us on YouTube so you can watch us, or you can just listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. This has been Nate and Doran, joined by our special guest, Jax. Thank you for watching and listening. See ya.